Tonight, the strawberry sabotage saga deepens, with 2 more fruits targeted.
The Prime Minister spends another day dealing with bullying allegations within his party.
Sam Burgess speaks publicly over the lewd sexting scandal.
What hurts me the most is seeing my wife upset about what's out there.
And from the fashion to the big winners to...
You wonder why I don't like to call you my girlfriend? Because I want to call you my wife.
The surprise proposal at this year's Emmys.
This is NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Lobb.
Good evening. A stark warning from police tonight to any copycats thinking of putting needles into fruit, that they could face up to 10 years behind bars. It comes as the contamination crisis deepens, with 2 incidents involving an apple and a banana reported in Sydney.
It started with needles in strawberries, now nails in apples. Whether it's calculated contamination or copycats, it's spreading fear across the country. Here, New South Wales Police are investigating more than 20 reported incidents from all over the state, including at 3 schools, at Shoalhaven south of Wollongong, the Blue Mountains and Mulloway north of Coffs Harbour.
This is a point where we're having little kids that are nearly going to bite into a strawberry and other pieces of fruit that we've had recently, and could really suffer a significant injury.
Detectives warn those found responsible face hefty penalties.
Suspected copycat incidents impact on the industry and are very unhelpful to authorities, and will be treated as food contamination, which again is a serious offence which carries 10 years jail.
The motivations of the culprits have not been confirmed, and other fruits are now being targeted. Police in Adelaide are looking into claims this nail was found in an apple late yesterday. A needle found in an apple bought from a Woolworths near Blacktown. At Condell Park, a customer has reported finding a needle in a banana. This store already has 8 security cameras, but management says they'll now install even more after this one needle scare.
We're working very seriously to make sure that our fruit and vegetables is safe to eat.
Security is also being ramped up in the fields and warehouses, with punnets passing through metal detectors before being packed. But for some producers, this is their reality. Devastated strawberry growers forced to dump mounds of perfectly good fruit. Other crops just left to wither on the vine.
You know, we've been through a fair bit.
It's been almost 2 weeks since Gay Vieira was rammed by a speeding highway patrol car in Cronulla, leaving her in a coma fighting for life. Today, her family decided to take matters into their own hands, announcing they'll sue New South Wales Police.
Their pain has turned to anger, and today the Vieira family all but declared war against police.
Only way to teach someone a lesson is make it hurt.
And they will begin with legal action.
So you are obviously? Yes.
Nearly 2 weeks after his wife Gay was left critically ill when a car was rammed by a speeding highway patrol vehicle with no lights and sirens on, the family is still demanding answers. Last Friday, the traffic boss spoke about the investigation.
It is a very complicated crash to deal with.
Today, the family responded.
God, what's so complicated about being, T-boned?
Is it your expectation, though, that charges will be laid against the officer?
We'll know that better when the officer is fully interviewed over the matter.
Do you know if anyone else has left 10 days before an interview in a major accident? It's a joke. You have your own rules.
Their frustrations
It's an insult to my family.
were noted today by the police minister.
This family deserve answers, absolutely, and they will get those answers.
While the Vieiras battle for justice, it appears they've notched up an early win. This was the scene of the crash, and Sutherland Council says it's listened to their calls and is now considering installing traffic lights here. In the meantime, 68-year-old Gay Vieira is fighting her own fight for life. She remains in a coma. Damien Ryan, NBN News.
Sam Burgess today spent 11 and a half minutes answering questions, but not answering the big one. What exactly was his part in the rugby league sexting scandal?
Instead, the South Sydney Star focused on his family, saying seeing his heavily pregnant wife upset is what hurts him most.
The silence said it all. Sam Burgess facing the cameras but saying nothing as he addressed the nude Facebook chat scandal for the first time since his world turned upside down. In front of a crowd of onlookers, fans, and the media. The scars of football evident on his face. Nothing compared to the scars at home.
What hurts me the most is seeing my wife upset about what's out there, and obviously having to deal with that. I think, but I'm not angry, and like I said, that's why I'm completely happy to go through the process, be as open and honest with everything.
Pregnant wife Phoebe letting the world know she was supporting her husband via this Instagram post last night. A shadow revealing Sam took the photo.
It's been a tough process to go through as a family together, but I'm fortunate that I've got a strong wife. I've got a wife who loves me. I've got a great family. I've got great friends.
Regarding the ongoing NRL investigation, Burgess repeating the same line over and over.
We've been told to publicly make no comment. So I want to do that. There's an inquiry going on, and following the process. I'm not allowed to speak about it publicly.
But he strongly hinted there was more to the story.
I'm happy for them to get to the truth. I really am. I'm happy for the truth, to be found.
Sam, when would you like it completed by?
As soon as possible. I think hopefully within 24 hours, 48 hours, I think there should be resolved.
Neil Breen, NBN News.
Bullying, betrayal and backstabbing. Another female Liberal MP is pulling out of federal politics, citing a toxic culture in the party. The Prime Minister insists it's a problem for state officials, and one Liberal woman's response was, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Running a more boring government is a prime ministerial ambition.
We're working on it being a little less exciting.
Because yet another one of Scott Morrison's days has been consumed by another Liberal woman announcing her intention to quit politics and unloading on the culture of her party.
Bullying, betrayal and backstabbing have been the hallmarks of one of my state Liberal colleagues, Gareth Ward, over the past 6.5 years.
Gareth Ward says he's shocked by the accusation.
I was bullied at school because of my albinism, because of my disability. I know what it's like to be bullied.
And he utterly rejects the charge.
I'm not a bully. I may be lots of things, but a bully isn't one of them.
The Prime Minister is clearly frustrated with elements of his party, urging them to focus on the main game.
That's to serve the Australian people, not to carry on with stupid games.
But despite the claims of MPs like Julia Banks, Scott Morrison says any bullying is a state-based problem.
Are you 100% confident that it is not an issue within the federal parliamentary party?
Right.
And the focus on bullying is getting short shrift from some Liberal women.
If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
And the opposition leader was quietly turning up the heat during question time. The gender wars are a divisive and distracting battle for a Prime Minister who has very little time to try and win back alienated voters. To have any chance at winning the next poll, he needs a united team.
How many voters are left on the House? Like it's unemployment rate is coming down.
Or one that looks united. Chris Ullman, NBN News.
Another young life has been lost on a country road, this time at East Seaham, north of Newcastle. Emergency services were called to a stretch of East Seaham Road just before 4:30 this morning, following reports the Subaru station wagon had left the road and struck a power pole. Paramedics worked to save the 19-year-old male driver and sole occupant of the car. However, he died on the way to hospital.
Newcastle's Lord Mayor has rubbished rumours she's set to take a tilt at state politics. It comes on the back of glowing reviews from two unlikely supporters during a tour of the city yesterday.
Public praise piled on from the other side of politics.
Got to say, the Lord Mayor's doing a great job, just out of just saying.
The Labor Mayor in Newcastle, I mean, there's an example. What a breath of fresh air from the Labor Party.
Newcastle Lord Mayor Nuatali Nelms encouraged to run for the state seat of Newcastle, currently held by Tim Krakenthorpe.
I'd urge Nuatali to stand against him for pre-selection so that we can get rid of this detractor once and for all.
Absolutely not. I think Tim is doing a wonderful job.
The Lord Mayor today ruling out a move to state politics, vowing to remain in Newcastle.
They can go to Macquarie Street and play their political games, and I will just plough on and get the job done in Newcastle.
The calls came on a momentous day for the Greater Hunter, announcing the city's first ever metropolitan plan and the first of its kind for a non-capital city in Australia. It's a long-term forecast, Ms Nelms says, has spent years on the drawing board.
When I say the city of Newcastle, I do mean the metropolitan area, which includes Lake Macquarie, Cessnock, Port Stephens and Maitland. And in that inner core area, 2/3 of all the residents of the Lower Hunter live and work.
Looking to lay down the foundations for transport and land use to better plan for the ever-expanding Greater Hunter region. Samantha Long, NBN News.